we were getting a little bit more food. We got a 6-level loaf of bread per man per day. And then we also got dehydrated cabbage soup and dehydrated potato soup. And then after a while, some of our GIs were able to make soup of their own out of the remnants of their food, carrots, so stuff that they just threw away. We used it for soup. And a lot of horse meat. We did eat a lot of horse meat because that was all mixed into our soup. You know, horse meat wasn't that bad, really. It was kind of a red, stringy meat, but it was to us it tasted very good. I don't expect I would like it today, but it did taste good then. And we had our German black bread all the time. So we were not, well, I'll tell you, I weighed 160 pounds when I was shot down over Germany. And when I come out of prison camp, I weighed just exactly 100 pounds, about 60 pounds. My father didn't hardly know me. My face was so drawn, my wrists were so thin, and I was really thin. We spent that time in prison camp until December. Then we started getting some Red Cross parcels. That was our biggest treat. Oh, when the Red Cross parcels came in, I'm telling you, it was just like heaven. So we had some soluble coffee in those parcels, crackers, prunes sometimes, raisins, little boxes of raisins, milk. It was dry milk, powdered milk. Trying to think of all the things that were in it. I guess that's about it. But anyway, we enjoyed the Red Cross party. Now it gets to the point where Parkland's army is starting to roll in. You can almost hear the guns out beyond our camp. So they decided to take us out of there. The Germans decided to take us out of the camp. They put us into boxcars. There was about 60 of us in this boxcar, and we were in a boxcar for 8 days. And in that time, 2 men had passed away. Well, anyway, we finally, after 8 days, we got to, I should tell you, we got thirsty, and we didn't have room to sit down. We squatted in each other's laps, and that's how we stayed. Then we didn't have water, but when it rained, there was a little slit between the roof and the side. We made funnels with paper, run the funnels out into this, so we catch the rain, and that's how we got our thirst quenched. We were then taken to Moosburg. Moosburg is a little town in the eastern part of Germany, and then we only spent a couple of days there, but we started on our march, which they call the Death March, and I didn't mind the march. I being a farm boy, I could walk pretty good yet, better than I can walk today. I'll tell you that. So I didn't mind the march. We were on the march for about 3 weeks. I'm coming to the closing of my speech here, not pretty close. So on the march, we were able to, well, we ate from the Red Cross parcels, but we finally lost out on those because the Germans started confiscating our Red Cross parcels because they didn't have any to eat, so they took our Red Cross parcels. So we were getting pretty hungry, and even to the point where we were taking food from wherever we could get it. I realized it wasn't the right thing to do, but we did it. And we made little families. Like 3 of us would be together, and we were like a little family. So we pooled our food together, all our utensils and so forth. We put them all together, and we were just that one little family. Everybody did the same thing. I remember one night, we all slept in barns. They put about 50 of us in barns. And it was about 1,000 men, but so they drop off 50 and put them in the barn, drop off 50 more, put in another barn. But that's the way we slept at night. So these 2 guys that I were with were kidding me about being a farmer. And we were up in the hayloft. This is kind of funny. We were up in the hayloft, and one of the guys, Tommy Simmons, said to me, he said, you brag about the fact that you were a farmer. So here's an opportunity to prove yourself. Take this can, this Klim can, that's what we call Klim, is the powdered milk can. It's about that big around, about that high, little tin can. Take this can down that chute and milk a cow for us and bring the milk back up. Oh, sure, I'll do that. So I did. I went down the chute. I think about the first cow I came to, I got down and I started to milk her. And I hit that tin can, you could hear it all over the barn. And I looked down and I could see legs somebody way down at the other end of the barn. And it wasn't too long before those legs started coming up towards me. And it happened to be a Polish refugee girl. She had a scarf around. So she was more like a slave labor, you know. And she had a can about this long, about this big around, almost full of milk. And she said, oh, nix. She didn't want me to do it. She didn't want me to milk the cow. Oh, I said, just a little milk. Nix. Finally, she just looked around and she took her can and she poured milk into my can. So I go up the step, up the ladder, into the chute. I said, there you guys, you didn't think I could milk a cow? There, I just show you. Anyway, these are some of the funny things. There's a couple of funny things like that happen, but I'm not going into detail. It was 3 weeks in March, we finally ended up at Mooseburg. Mooseburg was supposed to be an open city. You could hear Patton's army coming. You could hear the guns so close. We were getting excited, and we started digging trenches with our cans, with our milk cans, whatever, digging down. You couldn't do it. I mean, it was stupid, but it just was something to do, you know. But anyway, it wasn't long before we could look over the hillside and we could see tanks coming towards the camp. And it wasn't too long before the guards came down and gave up, and our men put white armbands around, went up into the guardhouse, and we were no longer a prisoner of war. It was the most wonderful feeling I can ever remember. We were there for a period until we got shipped out on a ship to go back to the States. I'm not going to go into detail about going back to the States. The only thing I'd like to say is on this ship, when we reached near the harbor of New York, I saw the Statue of Liberty. The tears ran down my face, as well as a lot of the other guys, because I had been a prisoner for 7 months, and to see the Statue of Liberty again was the most wonderful sight that I can ever remember. To this day, I know that it was a terrible ordeal, but I think it taught me a lot of things. It taught me the value of life, and it taught me about the little things that are so important, and I will always remember that. So I think it was, I guess I shouldn't say worthwhile, but it did teach me a lesson. Thank you, people, for being so attentive. I couldn't hear anybody talking or anything. It was really wonderful. Thank you. Whenever you have time, you can look afterwards. This book has my story in it. And this book here is filled right full of the stories of our group, the 451st Bomb Group, which I cherish because of all the many things that we did while I was a member of the 451st Bomb Group.
Mr. Foy, would you mind if a few of the students had questions for you?
Oh, okay. That's fine.
We have a few minutes yet. We have about 5 minutes. Would anyone like to ask a question?
Yeah, I guess they do it. Okay.
What was the name of your bomber?
What'd you say?
What was the name of your bomber?
It was, we didn't have one, you know, they put these girl pictures on them. We didn't have a name on ours. And the reason we didn't is because we lost our bomber in the Alley Azores, so they assigned us to another bomber, and we just didn't bother to put a name on it. But it was a Liberator bomber, B-24 bomber, 4 engines, with 10 men. 10 men were always in it. Yeah.
What caliber was the gun that you
Fired?
fired?
The two guns. I had 2 guns that were flexible guns. I could move them. 50 caliber. I remember one time I saw 2 Fox bolts coming in at me. So I aimed my guns at them and I started firing. I could see my trace of bullets going towards them. I didn't have to get them because they just turned around and left. So I never got anybody. I never shot anybody. But anyway, I turned them away. That's all I did.
Alicia?
Did you have any siblings who were also in the army, or was it just you?
I couldn't hear you.
Did you have any siblings that were also in the war?
Yes, I have a son that served in the Vietnam. As a radio man, by the way. I don't understand why, but anyway, he served in Vietnam. One of my sons. The other son wasn't able to because he had a little problem with the wrist and everything. Yeah.
How old were you when you went to the war?
23. And I showed you how I looked. That's my brother, how I looked then.
Pretty handsome man.
I could say that today. say.
Oh,
Danielle,
Would you do it again if you could?
would you do it again?
Absolutely not. Never.
Tom,
When you went to France, could you stay or did you have to leave?
when you went to France?
No, this was it. I thought I was gonna see something when I went over. That's why I went. But I didn't. We got the plane unloaded, got on the plane and took off back home again. That was it. I didn't see a thing, really. Yes.
Do you still want to go to France?
Oh, yeah, my wife and I have been in France, and I'll tell you the truth, we've been in Germany. And Germany is a beautiful country. I didn't see it then when I was there, and I didn't think it was a beautiful country then. But it is a beautiful country. We've been in France and Germany, Holland, and we've had a nice trip. Yes.
What was your rank and where were you in around France?
What was your rank?
Oh, I was a tech sergeant. That would be 3 stripes on the top and 2 on the bottom. So that would be the next thing up to warrant officer almost. Yeah.
And she said, whereabouts were you in France when you landed?
Oh, we were near Lyons, France. Lyons, I don't think I pronounce it the way the French do, but Lyons, France.
Danielle?
And nowhere's near Paris, I'll tell you. That's where I want to go.
Danielle?
Do you have any like when they go back to like or something?
You need to stand up.
When you went into a battle, were you ever scared? Like that something was like
I don't hear 'em.
When you went into battle, were you afraid that something was going to go wrong?
No,
Or were you pretty confident?
no, I was pretty confident that I would never be a prisoner of war, that we'd always get back home and be lucky. Just drop our bombs and get out of there and go home. That was my intentions. I wasn't afraid then. Well, we didn't know enough to be afraid, I guess. Yeah,
did you communicate with your family?
never. While I was flying, yes, I was able to write letters home. But I wrote a lot of letters when I was in prison camp, but they never got them, and I never received any word from them. But I'd like to tell you this, but this is kind of, I got the time, I don't know if I got time, but my folks didn't know, they thought I was missing in action, and that maybe I was dead. But eventually, they found out in the day before Christmas that I was a prisoner of war. Can you imagine how my mother and father felt then? Day before Christmas. It was quite a Christmas present for them. Yeah.
Would you have been one of the ones that you ever participated in?
What did you say?
If we ever went to war, would you be a participant?
No, because they wouldn't let me. I'm too old. I'm 82 years old now. But if I was young again and able to go, I would do the same thing over again. I would volunteer. But you asked me if I'd ever like to go through this again. No, I don't want to go through that again. But I would volunteer again if my son did.
We'll take one more question. Zach?
Would you try horse meat again?
Would you ever eat horse meat again? I think he said no.
No, not if I didn't have to. But it didn't taste bad, really. It didn't taste bad. But we don't eat it here, so I don't want to eat it anymore.
All right, I think we need to thank Mr.
It was a great pleasure. I really appreciate your attentiveness. I appreciate